topic on art therapy. I liked the idea of art therapy because it gave people different opportunities and a way to express themselves. So what is art therapy? Art therapy is a mental health profession practiced around the world where clients facilitated by art therapists use art, media, creative processes resulting in artwork to explore their feelings, reconcile emotional conflicts, and foster self-awareness. So different ways of expressing yourself through art in order to understand a certain situation that you find yourself in as a patient. So what are some of the components of art therapy? It's focusing on the pace and readiness of the client. Each client is going to be at a different place in their life, and so the pace that they can handle will be different depending on their background and the personal conflict that they are trying to work through. You want to make sure that the client feels safe in the environment. Art is a very vulnerable topic, and so people might not feel like they're good at art, or that they might be nervous because they don't want to mess it up. So this would be something that you should make sure is positive for the client so that they feel encouraged. Examples of outlets for this communication would be painting, drawing, sculpture, sand art, poems, music, movies, and theater. So it spans a different variety of topics in which people are interested in so they can express themselves in their own unique way. When did this all begin? So art therapy is actually much older than most people think. It started around the 1800s and it's continuing to grow. So there are workshops and conferences you can register for online so that you can meet with people who are also art therapists and just learn different strategies and about different resources as research comes out. Music and theater is the primary way it was used. When it first began, people thought that they could go to a theater show and kind of express themselves. So when students in high school learned about Romeo and Juliet and different Shakespeare's plays, going to the theater was one way they would express themselves. And so it was more of a contained environment, but also more of a expressive environment so they could deal with their emotions. So disorders that art therapy can support. It can support schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, PTSD, addiction, Asperger's disease, sexual abuse, blindness, and eating disorders. So it covers a wide span because it allows people to deal with different situations in their own way, and it helps them to uncover different feelings that they may have been covering up. Some of the shortcomings of art therapy, it can be very involved in the training. So in the state of Illinois, I can only find 2 colleges that offer master's programs for art therapy. You have to have over 500 hours of training in order to be an art therapist, so you have a lot of hands-on experience, which is wonderful, but it also is very time-consuming and difficult to do. It can be overstimulating depending on the person, so each individual has a lot of potential, but they might be overstimulated if the activity is too much, or if they're worried about it being too perfect, or if their just abilities, they feel they can't do it, and so they want to give up. Which leads us to the unrealistic, because it is lack of interest. So if someone feels that they can't do it, they're not going to be interested in it, and they might want to give up. They might have been excited about it, but once they got into it, it was too difficult, or they just felt like it wasn't working, so they might end up quitting the therapy. Some consider this hazardous, depending on the situation. So this was found more in adolescents than adults, that students who have special disabilities may feel that they can eat paint or play with equipment that they shouldn't in a dangerous way, but also some of the things for the elderly. Art therapy was found to work with a span of ages from childhood to elderly. So those who are elderly may not have the physical capabilities to do things, so it might be dangerous for some of them to participate in heavy lifting type things, just clay or anything depending with like too sharp of objects. If you're going to do different things such as glass making or different things like that. Some of the research. Some helpers find it hard to implement changes because of a lack of resources. So this comes back to the conference where you can gain better resources, but art materials are very expensive. And so some therapists, especially those who are independent, have a hard time accumulating enough resources to help their patients. There are many therapists who are still actively seeking research. So there is not a lot of research that is out there for art therapy because there is a huge debate on whether or not you can effectively gauge if someone's truly expressing themselves and truly getting better, or if they're just participating in an art class. So some people feel that it's hard to measure your progress and hard to say whether or not like you're actually getting better or if it's something in the moment just because you're able to express yourself in that moment and you enjoy it. Children are focused on their independence versus dependence when it comes to art therapists. So the art therapist should not be giving the student a prompt necessarily, but guiding them towards something that they want to create. So the art therapist should not focus on saying, please draw X, Y, and Z, but they should try and help that student get to the conclusions on their own, which is part of talk therapy, so they can combine the two therapies together to work alongside one another to benefit that child. These are a few examples of our therapy. So this one is more focused on writing it out, so this could be about poetry. This one is a student's work about their depression. This is another child's work about a divorce that is happening in that child's life. And then this one is just a combination of different ways that they were feeling that day and how they kind of overcame it. These are my sources that I use.